Here for IndyStar TV, I'm Zion Brown. We're at the annual IMS Sweet Hospitality Food Tasting Event, and I'm here with IMS President Doug Boles. Doug, have you got anything to eat yet?
I have. I had some pork chops and a little bit of steak and a little bit of veggies, and I've got one more round to go. So it's part of the fun of this event.
What's been your favorite of those few things you've had so far?
So far, the pork chops for me were really good. I
looked at them. I didn't take a bite. I might go over there after we talk. But I looked at them. They looked good.
Yeah, I went for all the protein. So I did the chicken and the pork chops and the steak, and the pork chops seemed to be my favorite.
There we go. So I might go back over there in a minute. Well, of course, you're the IMS president, but you're also, of course, the IndyCar president. And new event in Arlington just went down, and it had a lot of successful reviews and thoughts from it from drivers and teams. I just want to get your thoughts after being down there this past weekend. What did you think about the overall three-day event down there on the streets of Arlington?
The biggest thing for me was just how the community just embraced the event. You felt like from the moment you got there that everybody wanted IndyCar there, and I hadn't been down there since we started the construction. So to see it from the parking lot that it was last time I saw it to where it was, just pretty impressive facility. All the different structures that we put up. I think the teams had a great time, the drivers had a great time, and I know the fans did. So I can't wait for next year.
What do you think going into next year can be improved about that event? I know there were some issues with foot traffic and maybe some ADA concerns as well. Just what have you seen that you guys want to make sure it's easier to get around and be a better event next year?
Yeah, certainly some of the foot traffic, a couple of the bridges, got some backup there, so we need to probably widen those bridges, some of the things there. On the team side, we actually, if you were pitted on driver's right in that dual pit lane, you were stuck out on that island until the track was actually red or cold, so we need to figure out a way to get people back and forth there. Handful of things with that. ADA is always a challenge with a new event, so we got to think through those. But for the most part, I think other than that, we had a pretty good weekend.
I know publicly a lot of the drivers spoke highly about the event. What is the reaction you've got from team owners?
Same thing. I mean, I think everybody was just really impressed with the facility. You walk in and it feels like a really big event. It feels like you're in a special place. And like I said when I started, the whole community embraced it. And from an ownership standpoint, when you go as a team owner and you feel like you're someplace where people want you to be, they're pretty excited about it. So I think across the board was nothing but little tweaks, I think, to make it better next year.
A few different drivers kind of called it the new standard. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think when you really think about walking into a facility and knowing you're at someplace really special and feeling like it's a big one, it definitely is a new standard. And I think as we add events over the next few years, you're going to need to make sure that we step up so when you walk in those events, it feels exactly like it did when we went to Arlington.
You mentioned going back there next year. Just what does the future of the event look like? Do you know how many years maybe are guaranteed for you guys going back there?
Well, I think we'll definitely be there next year for sure, and I think even beyond that. I know one of the things, the electronic billboards in the city, we turned those over this week to just really say thank you to fans and just say, hey, we're just starting, because this is just the beginning in Arlington. So looking forward to a long run there.
There have also been reports recently about IndyCar adding a race maybe in the Northeast market and also in Denver. What can you tell me about those two scenarios, those two markets right now?
Well, the Northeast is a place that we definitely need to get to. Obviously, we're going to do DC this year, but we need to find a permanent home in the Northeast. So we've been working on that. So that's something that's really important. Denver's been one that's always been on our radar. It's a great market. We've had IndyCar racing there in the past, both in the oval that's south of town there, and had a street race in the past. So we really want to get back to Denver. So that's not as far along maybe as people are hoping, but we're working on it, and that'd be a great market for us as well.
What were your thoughts? I know there's a big change with the Fast Six this past week and the single car qualifying. Did you feel like that was as successful as you guys had hoped, or are there maybe more tweaks or something you didn't expect to happen that happened there?
Well, I think there's some more tweaks that we have to have. I think long term it could be really exciting. The opportunity to go 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, talk about what the drivers are doing. I know Fox wants to continue to try and do it, tell the story maybe a little bit better. We learned that the drivers are really good at it. If you start 6 and you can keep those brakes and those tires warm, you probably have an advantage. So we have to figure out a way, how can we make sure it's even for everybody as they go forward? But it's definitely something we're going to continue to try and work on and make better.
So do you expect that to be the case at more races this year?
I definitely think it'll be at more races this year. We just have to think which ones. You got to look at the schedule both from a TV standpoint, but also a promoter standpoint. Some of those racetracks have so many other events, so we don't have the window to make that happen. It takes a little bit longer when you have one car at a time. So we met yesterday to think about what races can we do that in, and kind of looking at some tweaks there. And hopefully we'll be able to do that at several races this year.
I want to come back now to IMS in May in the 500 after Takuma Sato was officially announced with Rahal Letterman Lanigan yesterday. You're up to 31 entries. As of right now, do you expect to get up to that 33 number?
I 100% am sure we'll get to the 33 number. The question will be how far over 33 do we get.
So you do expect there to be over 33 and for there to be bumping and qualifying?
Well, no, I expect for sure there'll be 33. The question is, will we have bumping or not? I know we'll get to 33, and then there's a lot of drivers out there with some budget, just trying to find the right place and the right opportunity. So it'll be interesting to see where we land. But we'll definitely be at 33, and then we'll see how far north of 33 we get.
How important is it to, A, just get to that 33 number, and then B, try to get over to make qualifying exciting?
Well, I've always said that 33 is an important number. We have to get there. In my new role, you start thinking, well, maybe it's not as important, but that's not true. At 33, we have to be at 33. So that's one of the things we really work on. The question is, can we get to 34, 35? I think bumping is important. We can do without it, but bumping has that next story, that compelling story to it. It's always sort of magical when you see who actually gets in and who's sitting on the sideline. So, I love bumping, and to the extent we can have it, I'd love to. But 33 is the number, and we got to make sure we're there every year.
You guys have had officially now over 1 million viewers for each of these first 3 races. Obviously, the first time you've done back-to-back-to-back in the history of the IndyCar series. How do you keep that momentum going now for the next 15?
That's really our fans, right? Our fans have stepped up and helped us out and really done that. And I have a lot of faith in our fans. It's not just the core fan, but the fan inviting other people, hey, come experience IndyCar with us. So we're just going to have to continue to communicate with the fans, make sure they know when the races are, and just encourage them, hey, bring a lot of people along with you because we're trying to grow the sport. But I feel really good about the way we started. I think the back-to-back-to-back thing is helpful. We got a week off this week, then we go to Barber, and then we got a couple weeks off, and we go to Long Beach before we get to Indianapolis. So that we'll begin to see how things are kind of rolling out when we have those events. But definitely the 3 races in a row really start the season off well.
Do you still expect maybe not to keep that same level of viewership, but to get higher viewership than you have in April in years past, now that maybe you had those 3 races and it's maybe ingrained in people's mind that the IndyCar season is in full swing?
Well, our goal is obviously to grow the sport, and to grow the sport, one of the ways you do it is you see those numbers changing. So we hope that we hope that's exactly the case. I hope they're all over 1 million. But at the end of the day, we just want to continue to grow and make a difference, and obviously these first 3 races have been really good for us.
How crucial has Fox been in their promotion into making sure that people are tuned in?
Well, Fox has been a great partner. I mean, they started last year with the ads they've done, the way they use a lot of their different platforms, announcing Coach Signetti as our pace car driver on Fox in the middle of the World Baseball Championship. That's the value you get in a partner like that who's helping you grow the sport, so they've been fantastic.
You led right into my next question. That was just announced last night, Coach Signetti being the pace car driver. How long has that kind of been in the works for you guys, and how excited were you to have him agree to it?
Well, I think we started thinking it might be the right thing to do when they won the Big Ten championship, right? And then as we watched things unfold, we started talking to the university even ahead of the national championship. And then when the national championship was over, we said, is there a way we can really make this happen? So I've known for a few weeks now, so the idea that we can actually now talk about it publicly, it's been in the at least in our mind since last December, and has been in the works really over the last few months, and just to be able to get that announced is pretty exciting.
When you spoke to the whole crowd here earlier, you talked about 500 ticket sales. Of course, you've been adamant for a couple months now that you're on pace to sell out the grandstands, but you also revealed here just a moment ago that you think there's a good chance that you sell out GA as well. Just what can you say about where those sales are at, and when you expect that to maybe happen when it comes to GA selling out?
Well, so our grandstand tickets are way above where they were last year, and those were above where we were in 2024. I think we're looking at probably the first week in May would be my guess on when the grandstand sells out. And the reason the reason I think GA might sell out is once the grandstand tickets are gone, what we saw in 2016 is GA really picked up. And there is a point in time where we have to say that's enough people in the infield because we want to make sure the customer experience is good. So if we're 3 weeks out, call it the grandstand sellout, we could very well get to the point where the GA sellout has to happen as well.
How do you enter that push to try to get that GA sellout to happen?
Well, I think right now we're just focused on let's get the grandstand sellout to happen, and then we'll see where we are on the GA side. If it doesn't, that's fine. But I think it will, and we'll just see where that goes. And then as we get to the number, we've got a number in our head in terms of how many people we think we can take care of properly in the infield. And once we get to that point, I think we just have to say, okay, it's completely sold out.
Last thing I want to ask about now is the Freedom 250 race. We finally got the track reveal last week. What were your thoughts on the track that they were able to put together? And just for you, what are the next steps now of putting it together and making sure everything is right for that race come August?
Well, the good news is we started working on it in August, so we've had a lot of effort there. This is sort of the second track configuration, if you will. I think for what we want to do, racing around the mall, being right there with the Washington Monument and the Capitol around us, that layout works really well for what we want to do. We have a ton of work to do. In fact, we've got teams that are going back and forth to D.C. a couple of times a week as we continue to work through that. So it's going to be a Herculean effort. I feel 100% confident that everything will go well, but it's an awful lot of work to the point we can get to that August race and the Freedom 250.
Thank you once again, Doug. This is Doug Boles, IMS and IndyCar president. I'm Zion Brown here for IndyStar TV.